is I date women who date women, and that tends to like now I have the opposite effect. Now they're super excited to come to the bikini competition with me. Greg O'Gallagher, is it easy to date Greg O'Gallagher? Are you looking for monogamy? What is that? What is that whole thing like being a famous YouTuber like this?
Yeah. I've kind of been in this sort of position for a long time, so
Yeah,
it's not fresh. It just kind of feels very normal. It can be very tough for women to like. It can be tough for women to date me and just see the amount of like attention and like just knowing that I'm going like it can be tough. Um, but I've relaxed into it quite swimmingly.
yeah, for sure. You're not complaining, right?
No, yeah, no, it's I mean, I guess the challenge is like, it's when you have a lot of options and freedom and possibility, it definitely like makes it harder to like, want to date one person.
Yeah, that was my next question. So like, again, I host the biggest bikini competition in the world. I'm the Swimsuit USA world host and several other things, Babes in Toyland. So for me, I mean, for me, it's very difficult to want to settle down to a traditional monogamous relationship, even when I meet someone incredible, because it's one of these situations where I'm going to go to work and I'm going to be with like 200 girls. Are you okay with that? And the girl's like, yeah, I'm okay with that. And then guess what, Greg? They're not okay with that. Something goes wrong. It ends up being, you've had a
Yeah, you know
similar,
what? That 100%. They can act so chill in the very beginning for the first, maybe month or two, but then, you start to realize actually like, even if they pretend to be chill, like it does affect them. And so that's definitely tough. If you're around a lot of women, you're living this also like I'm living this lifestyle where like, my priority is my business
yeah.
and my brand and part of that requires getting attention and doing X, Y, and Z. And so, if so like you need to find a part. Yeah, it's good to have a partner that completely understands that's on board with that. But that's easier said than done. I've been in that position a few times where I was dating a girl and like they were, very chill with it in the beginning, but like not quite. But I think ultimately like yeah, it can be, it is definitely a challenge.
Yeah, it's definitely the only solution that it's even a pseudo solution that I found is I date women who date women, and that tends to like now I have the opposite effect. Now they're super excited to come to the bikini competition with me or Paradise Challenge or whatever. That's the only thing that I found that work. And I live in a place, Las Vegas, where there's a ton of women that are like a ton of women here that are like that. So it just that part has made it a little easier for me, so I can be like completely and totally honest because I don't care what a woman tells you. A heterosexual woman, if you have been with a lot of very beautiful women, if she asks you, have you been with her? You're going to say yes, and she's going to say she's fine with it. She's not fucking fine with it. I don't care what she says. If you're dealing with a woman who's like really attracted to women and you say yes, she's like, that's awesome. There's nothing wrong with that. So that's the only like pseudo solution that I found to this issue is to do something like that where you have like this thing, this extra component that's in common, right? Otherwise, traditional monogamy is very difficult in a place like, I mean, obviously you're 3 orders of magnitude more famous than I am, but like for someone like us, it's a very difficult thing to do. Now I ask all my guests this because, again, going back to Dr. Buss, do you think that monogamy is a natural state for human beings?
Um, yeah, that's a good question. Um, I've talked to someone that actually is pretty close with Dr. David Buss, and they kind of said that like men kind of fall into 4 different quadrants where there's like 25% of men can absolutely do monogamy. 25% kind of like are more geared towards monogamy, and 25% are really not, and then just 25% absolutely can't. So I mean, I think that there are definitely some men out there that can.
Greg?
I think if like every guy was completely honest with themselves, they probably would like the idea of getting, of having multiple.
Yeah, that is the problem, right? It's like I sometimes I get this vibe whenever I go back home for Thanksgiving or Christmas that like it is a function of my immaturity or that I'm a bad guy because I haven't chosen to settle down. And I'm like, I'm not, I don't understand that at all. Or like this belief that, well, I'm going to turn 50 and be alone and therefore I'm going to feel lonely. I have friends of mine who are 60 and they're not lonely. So I don't really understand. Like, I don't know. I just,
It, it,
we could get it.
I
Go ahead.
Yeah, you know what? I think it's like um this is like a different like question and topic if you're talking to men of very high status that have a ton of options.
Yes.
It's like this is kind of like a conversation that definitely comes up in those realms. Um but yeah, I it is definitely something hard to wrap your head around of like I'm just going to be with XYZ with this one person for the next, forget about 20 years, just even like 5 years,
Yeah.
it's definitely, it's definitely
Difficult.
something that's very hard to wrap the head around.
Yeah, I just found like ultimate honesty up front, and then you kind of can filter out what's going to work and what's not going to work, and that's been definitely the biggest game changer for me. Because, Greg, here's the craziest thing, right? You'll go up to a girl and you just straight up be like, "Hey, listen, I just want to let you know traditional monogamy is not what I'm looking for right now. I think you're amazing," and then you expect them to just get up and walk away, and they just don't.